Hello there, and welcome back to TerraFirmaCraft HardRock. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We're picking up almost exactly where we left off last time. I have some iron bloom cooking up so we can finish making the electron tubes so we can make all the mechanical crafters. And while that's cooking up, I've been making the windmill blades for the Immersive Engineering windmill. We have one more windmill blade to go, so I'll be showing you that in a moment. But I was just looking at this filter, and it's actually picked up a piece of carbon. So a piece of carbon has moved into it from here, and it's cleaned it up into a pile of carbon waste. Oh, look at that. We can turn it into tiny coal, which we can turn into regular coal. Well, that's useful. It does appear to consume 1 leaf per carbon waste. So, yeah, the carbon's building up there, but hopefully it actually goes into here and processes. I will be making more. Might just make like 5 or 6, or 12. Just cover the top up there with all these different carbon and sulfur filters, and that way I don't have to worry about pollution anymore, at least not from this. This does produce pollution also. So I'll be giving this roof and putting a filter on top of it also. But let's make this last windmill blade. It's a little involved and a little confusing. So what I did here with the hotbar is the exact order that you have to apply stuff to a block to turn it into a windmill. If we look at the blade here, you see lumber, twig, lumber, twig, lumber, twig. Do it 4 times. So that's 2. Put the rest back in, that's 4. But the first time you do this, the lumber turns into a gantry shaft. But it's not a real gantry shaft. So don't get confused by that. Just keep applying stuff to it, and it will turn eventually into the windmill blade. And that's the last windmill blade. So what we now need is the zinc sheet, our 8 windmill blades split up into 2 groups of 4, and 2 wrought iron rods. If we look at the windmill recipe, it's start with the zinc sheet, 4 windmill blades, plus the wrought iron rod, and then we need the press. So we're going to have to swap this out with that, and then we swap this back, do the recipe again, and then swap it back again. Or I could just pick up the depot and the items. Nah, you know what? We'll probably just swap them. Alright, and look, it's a gantry shaft again, but it's a fake gantry shaft, so don't get confused by it. Oh. Apparently carrying those makes you too heavy. Okay. And there we go. We now have the Immersive Engineering windmill, which also counts as huge, so you can't carry 2 items at once, which means you also can't put it into your backpack. But now we've used up all of our hunger, so we can't put it in a chest either because it's huge. Can I store it on the ground? Yes. Okay. So we will come back to that in a little bit. I need to make... Well, honestly, I don't remember how the Immersive Engineering windmill works, like how it hooks up. So we're going to need to hook that up, run it up into the sky, and then when we get back down here, we need to set up the create electrical motor, which we still have to craft. And that's going to take a bunch of brass sheets. I need to make a bunch of brass anyway. And some copper spools, which gives us a use for our creosote. Yeah. So let me go eat, and then we'll be back and start working on the next part of this project. There we go. That's all of our mechanical crafters. Now to actually set it up. To make the crushing wheel, we're going to make another 16 andesite alloy per wheel, so we need to make another 32, but we also need to make these brass mechanisms. Now, I made them the old-fashioned way last time using the anvil, and I'm going to try this way this time. We need 1 brass rod, 2 brass nuggets, actually 4 brass nuggets, and we get those by tossing a brass rod onto the mechanical saw. We need a cogwheel, another brass rod, and a copper nugget. And this all goes correctly, we've got an 82% chance of getting the brass mechanism. Or we get salvage, which will be mostly worthless. So, got the first nugget on. Doing a lot of this today, huh? Once I get more parts, we'll be able to actually automate this properly. Also, once we have a proper power source. This is sort of a, there we go. Sort of just makes do for now. And that actually completes the next quest. Or this quest here. We need andesite alloy to complete this next part. We need to pick up brass. So since I'm here, let's just do that. And then it wants us, sorry, bronze. And then it wants us to make a bronze anvil. So last time, we went into creative mode to fix that issue. That was not necessary. I was reminded a couple times in the comment section that we can use a feature in the quest book. If we go down to this edit mode, we can turn it on. It does show you all the quests, so spoilers. But then we can click on this and right click on it, and then we can complete instantly, since that is a bronze anvil. And then we can do the same for the wrought iron anvil. We can pick up steel. We don't need to do the quest. We don't need to do this for that. So pick up a bit of steel. Oh, we need a, because I want stubble sheets, the bloomery door, and bloom. Okay, we're going to complete that one also. Raw iron. That wants bloom also, so we're going to complete that part. Sheets. I've got, well, I've used all of them up already, so next, I don't know if it's gonna mess it up or not. That's why I'm closing it each time. Next, we want to pick up this. Okay, I'm not disassembling my entire setup to do this. We've got those, otherwise we can't have it. We've got that. And we got that. There we go. That's done. Steel. We've got that done. And then we got the steel anvil. And we've got the black steel anvil. And we have our blue steel anvil right here. There we go. So I can close that now. Haven't made any of the armor, so we're not going to take any of those. Haven't made the greenhouse yet. Sluice, I could go pick up one of them that we've already made. But now we've got our andesite alloy and our seared bricks. We make seared bricks that will allow us to start working on the Tinker's Construct. We're going to be hearing these announcements for the next few minutes. They're just spammed quests. And then that should give us what we need to get started on the next part of this. Which is, well, create, which we've already got a bunch of stuff, but also I think we'll get us into industrial engineering. All right, let's continue with some of these quests. We are now on kinetic power, so we can just check mark that. Wants us to make brass and a wrench. We actually just made the wrench, and I gotta go grab brass from our workshop. But now it wants us to do some of these cogwheels and some shafts. I got shafts in my inventory. I've got the wrench here. Got some andesite there. Then I'll put these down so I can turn all of them. I think I only need 8. All right, that's those. That's those. And we can use our wrench. Shift clicking with the wrench picks it up and puts it straight into your inventory. So, you know, that speeds up the process of cleaning up crate stuff. Which we're going to have to do in a moment because I want to set up the mechanical crafter. And that means I'm going to have to move quite a bit of this stuff since it's a mess. Let's remove these. You know what? We can probably leave that there because we just want to toss a cogwheel there. And then grab our mechanical crafter, and we want... No, I scrolled to the wrong thing. There we go. So the mechanical crafter has a specific shape you have to build them in for each of the different crafts. Since we're making the crushing wheel, it needs to be in this... I placed that one wrong again. And that... It needs to be in that shape. And now if you see all those arrows point towards where the parts will go. So we want everything to come together, and there we go. It'll deposit the crushing wheel right down there. And of course I need to go eat again. And I just broke my feet falling, so I can't even run. You know, now that I have the bucket, I can go find a mountain, find a spring, and bring the spring water back and just sit in that to heal up. But what we want to do now is put all these together to make our crushing wheel. So you place each of the blocks in. It's a little difficult to reach the top ones. But yeah, so you have the recipe that's in the book. You just place each of the items in its corresponding spot on the grid, and once you place the last one in, there we go. It is slowly crafting. The more stress units you have being provided to the crafter, the quicker it will craft. We don't have many going. Most of it is... Well, it's not a very fast setup with just 2 water wheels. But it does need to be fast. We just need to be done. And it is pretty cool watching it complete like this. And there we go. That's our first crushing wheel. It is also huge, so we can't carry 2 of them at a time. Thankfully, we can just place it on the ground. We could V it onto the ground if we want, or we can place it like that, which will require the wrench just to shift click to pick it back up. I meant to V that time, but I clicked the wrong button, so we'll just make do. And this is how the mechanical crafter works. We are going to be moving this whole thing over to our warehouse our factory when it's ready. It will be tearing this down as soon as we're done crafting this crushing wheel. We will need to use it again to make the motor, but we only need 12, so it'll be an easier setup than this. And there we go. That's 2 crushing wheels. Now we can set up a crushing system and not have to use the millstones anymore. I'll still want a millstone over here, or 2. There's no reason not to have 2, in case I want to mill grain or something else that needs milling. But we can stop using this for grinding down ore, and yeah, we stop using this to crush down ore. We will now be able to use the actual crushing wheels. So let's see, what else can we do? We are going to need a basin. We have a depot and a hand crank. The basin requires 1 of any sheet and then 1 of any double sheet. And we gotta heat them up and weld them together on an anvil. That's pretty easy. The reason we need that is if we go back to pre-industrial and we look at the seared brick. Seared brick is from Tinker's Construct. The way you make the seared bricks is you need grout. You need to heat the grout. And you can either melt it using the Tinker's Construct foundry, which we don't have yet, or we can melt it on a forge, a charcoal forge, to get the seared stone. 1 grout gives you 2 stone, and to make the grout, we need sand, gravel, and fire clay, or 2 gravel, 1 sand, 1 graphite, and 2 fire clay. So for the addition of 1 graphite, we can get 4 times the amount of grout. You know, that might be a native deposit and not just gravel. No, it says accepts forge any gravel. Okay. Oh, okay. I didn't notice that. So this requires basalt gravel, any gravel, 2 fire clay, 1 sand, any sand, and 1 graphite to make 4. Let's see if we open up Blaze map. I think my game crashed. Alright, the game's crashing every time I open Blaze map. We have our 2 crushing wheels I made. Make sure they're okay, they're real, because if we look at our mechanical crafter, there's a 3rd crushing wheel that was being crafted apparently. Yeah, see, these should not exist. I think what happened was because the game crashed, it reloaded what was working on here, even though, as I just showed you, we have the 2 crushing wheels that I was making right here. So we're just going to toss that, those, and those down because those were duped, and I'm not going to use cheaty stuff. I have no clue where the other 3 went. If I find them, I'll get rid of them. Otherwise, they might already be down there, in which case it doesn't matter. And now because I crashed, and it's been a little bit of time, I edited the video as I was waiting. I completely forget what I was talking about. Right, basalt. So I can't open Blaze map to look for basalt, but we do have these rocks that have the quartz in them. Those are made of basalt, so I wonder if I can grind basalt down into basalt gravel. Okay, grinding gravel down will give you a 5% chance of getting basalt gravel. Same with putting it through a crusher, looks like you get a chance of getting basalt gravel. We can of course dig up the basalt gravel ourselves. But yeah, I don't think I can crush basalt into, well, at least not TerraFirmaCraft basalt into basalt gravel. But we can go look around for a basalt deposit. Again, I can't use Blaze Map right now, so I have to look like this to see where there's basalt. That's not too much of an issue. I think there's a ton up here, right? Yeah. So there's a ton of basalt up over here, which means there'll be basalt gravel, which we can use to make the grout, I think it was, I was looking at. Be in the quest book. Yeah. Let's just bookmark that. Basalt gravel. Yep. Oh, we need basalt gravel for this one also. Okay, so we need basalt gravel regardless. I'm glad I double checked that. Alright, so that gets us most of this first chapter, the pre-industrial age. We're getting started with the kinetic stuff. Water wheel, windmill bearing, windmill sails, basin depot, and hand crank. Andesite armor. We'll look at that in the future. And if we go to Steel Age, we need to grab our book, turn it into an engineer's manual, and that should unlock the next part. There we go. Akashic Tome. And we want this to be the engineer's manual. Oh, is this the Immersive Engineering? I think it is. Okay. So then I want power. We were working the windmill. Okay, so we're going to need a dynamo. So connect dynamo to take the energy from the windmill to turn it into something we can actually use. That's what I needed to know. And then we're going to need to make these windmill sails. They need either burlap or tough fabric. To make the tough fabric, we need hemp. I haven't gotten hemp seeds yet, so we can't do that one. Okay, so let's look up dynamo. We're going to want a connect dynamo, which is an iron mechanical component, some more iron, a copper coil, and redstone. Okay. This is a little involved. The iron mechanical component we can either make on the engineer's workbench, or we can make it through a sequenced recipe requiring iron sheet, copper nuggets, and brass mechanism. What's required for the engineer's table? Engineer's crafting table, iron, treated wood. And that's going to be much easier, although we are going to need paper. Wait, I'm clicking the wrong button. We're going to need engineer's blueprint, which requires paper, which we can make paper, blue dye, which I think we can use cornflower for blue dye. It just looks like coral. Only blue coral. Okay. Okay, we can use blue orchid and blue hyacinths. That's how you say it. We can make that. Or if we had lapis, we can get some. Okay. That's good. That's easy. We can do that in a few minutes. And then this stuff is what we would need anyway. And then go back here. Copper coil. We're going to need to make a bunch of these LV, low voltage, coils. Combine that with a treated plank. And to make that, we need copper wire. So I'm going to need a lot more copper. And we're going to need to make a few of these spools, which we get from throwing a treated slab onto our saws 3 times. And as I said, we're going to need to make these windmill sails. We're going to need burlap. Gotta use industrial hemp fibers, which we don't have hemp seeds for yet. Or we can use burlap. Burlap we make with the jute. So before I run off too far, I should probably turn the excess jute I have in one of these. There we go. I have 10 jute fibers now. Oh, I've got 2 stacks. Awesome. We can wash these, toss them in a barrel of water. They become jute fibers. And then from there, we can make the burlap out of them. So I'm going to need a Another barrel. The snow is building up so much it's covering all of my workstations. Okay, let's go make a barrel, 2 barrels, so I can soak all this jute down and then make some burlap. And well, I gotta go mine some more copper too. But we can start moving stuff over here and start putting up walls and actually have a factory starting to come together. I think I'm gonna have the windmill, like, you know, how did I think about it? Immersive Engineering, you run power from these connectors. Maybe not that one. These here. You run the low voltage cables and you can actually string it along. So I don't need to build necessarily my windmill connected to my factory. I could have it on the forge higher up. Could build the forge higher. Maybe give it multiple floors. Who knows? There's more room over here I could work with. But then we can have the wiring connected to that and have the wiring run down into the factory and then run to everything that needs power. Alright, we've spent a lot of time in the quest book today, and we're about to spend a little bit more. Oh look, my trees are growing. I picked up the last brass we needed, and that unlocked the crafters, which we've already made a 21 of, so we just gotta pull those out of our backpack and they'll be counted. But then I was looking at some of these other things. Okay, we still need to make the basin, simple enough. But what really caught my attention was this. Energy relaying poles. So we have energy relaying poles, weak Redstone Resonance Generator, a weak motor, and an alternator. Alternator will take stress units produced by Create and turn it into FE. FE and RF, I believe, are one-to-one interchangeable. The motor takes electricity and turns it into stress units. That's pretty much the same exact thing that this does. The electric motor I'm getting the stuff to make. This turns electricity into stress units also. Here's what I didn't see before, which has caught my attention. The weak Redstone Resonance Generator. Now this goes pretty quick, the info screen, but what it pretty much is, if you surround the resonance block with different materials that create redstone resonance, it will create energy. And if you hook that up to a motor, you can then create electricity this way. That seems interesting. It's not necessarily cheaper. The weak redstone generator here requires, okay, gold, andesite, and then there's this redstone resonance coil. That's 4 redstone and 4 copper for each coil. So all in all, it's not that bad, but you're probably going to want multiple of them. But that's a hurdle we can jump through at another time. Little tip for JEI here. If I do hashtag and then type in resonance, here we go. All the different blocks with redstone resonance pop up to the top of the bar. We have iron, copper, gold, diamond, netherite. The only way we can get these blocks is to have Tinker's Construct up and running, because then we can melt down regular iron, TerraFirmaCraft iron, like the double raw iron ingots, turn that into molten iron, and then cast that out into an iron block. So we can't really do that yet. Do the same with copper. I assume the same with gold. I haven't looked through this one yet. Yes. Diamond, I imagine, would be a bit more difficult, since you only get kimberlite and diamond grit. Yeah, it looks like the only way to do that is diamond grit, which would be cut diamonds. Yeah, no, I don't know how we'd get that. Netherite, I know we can get in the nether, so we're not going to worry about that right now. We can either do it with redstone blocks, which would need a basin plus a mechanical press. Alright, that's not too bad. That only gives you 5%. Bricks, however, give you 20%. And we can make bricks. We can make bricks pretty easy. That's just the clay and a little bit of mortar, which I was actually making up a bunch more of anyway. So I think I'm going to end up doing both of these. Make this weak redstone resonator generator and make the electric coil for the Immersive Engineering windmill. I'm going to make the generator first, I think. This is going to be a little less effort than making this. Not by much, but a bit. And then we can make some bricks, which if this doesn't work, I can always use the bricks in my building. So it's not really a loss. And then we can see if that produces power. What am I saying? I need to make the motor anyway. Yeah, anyway, we're going to do both of these. Because I think... Well, I can make this motor too. And have that hooked up to this. This isn't too bad. This is actually pretty cheap. So, you know, I might do these, and they required this. It's a little expensive for one. 4 copper and 3 fence posts to make 1 relay. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm going to try working on this then. That will get us another quest done, but will also get us power that we can use and run our crushing wheels. Oh, I'm going to get a bit more redstone for that. I'm down to only 2 or 3 pieces. Oh, I've got 7 pieces. That means I just need 1 more redstone. Okay, I'm going to go dive to our redstone location, get what we need, and then I'll come back and we'll make that, and that'll probably be it for today. Okay, zombie outside aside, I think I have everything ready to go. Don't worry, the zombie's in a hole that's filled up. There's no way he can get to me, right? Yeah, he can't get to me. Okay, so first, let's make the resonance generator. So it requires 2 of these, and we're actually going to need 4 of them. So might as well make all 4 now. Gold, andesite, and a shaft. So we do that. That's our weak resonance generator. We're going to want the weak motor. To make this, we need smooth stones, 2 redstone torches, and a bit of redstone dust. So let's put 2 of those down. Clicking with dust. That makes our repeater. And again, that's our motor. Then we need the resonance converter, which is 6 raw iron, 2 more resonance coils, and another shaft. We've got all that. I've got to make fences. Oh, wait. I forgot to make fences, but I grabbed everything I needed to make fences. So, not a problem. There we go. And then we can do 2 of those. Yeah, let's build this outside where we have a little more space to work with for now. I want to do this sort of structure first. We want the generator inside. Okay, I can't click on it to see what it's doing. We put the converter there. Put one of those there. Put this here. I think I see what's wrong here, and I wish I had noticed it earlier. I think it needs to be provided stress units. This doesn't just create stress units through magic. It takes the stress units that are already existing and turns them into redstone flux. Yep, well, that does get it rotating. I don't know why this is a thing though. If it doesn't create redstone flux, it just converts stress units to flux, then why include the motor which converts flux back into stress? Okay, well, it's something. It's not at all what we need. It's been a giant waste of time. So next time, we're going to actually work on making that windmill, which will actually work for us instead of being a waste of resources like this was. I'm sure this has a use, I just don't know what it is. Until then, thank you for joining me today. I hope you've had a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Later.